Today we're above Death Valley on Emigrant Canyon Road, and we're going to head over to Eureka Mine and the town of Harrisburg, the ghost town now of Harrisburg, and ultimately to Augerberry Point. And Eureka Mine and Harrisburg were established by Shorty Harris and Pete Aguereberry in 1905. And so what we're going to do is we're going to just check out this site. There are, there are hundreds of mines, gold mines in this area. And it was the gold that brought people here. And there's a mill where gold was, the raw ore was crushed and then run through cyanide tanks cyanide process, and the gold was extracted from the raw ore. And so that's Cashier Mill, and we'll be taking a look at that too. Augerberry Point is what Pete Aguereberry would take people up to this point, and he called it the Big View. Now, we were at Dante's View and took a trip a hiking route from Dante's View on the east side of Death Valley over to Mount Perry just about a week ago. And today on Augerberry Point, we are on the west side of Death Valley. It's about 500 feet higher than in elevation than Dante's View. And yet it's just a very beautiful view of Death Valley. So we're going to check that out in a bit too. So here we go. Okay, you're looking at the western ridge of the Panamint Mountain Range. We'll do a 360. And then you're looking across Emigrant Canyon Road to the other side of Emigrant Canyon. Sunrise. But what I wanted to point out here is I probably could have taken my car, the Beast, on this road. It's just been graded. Very nice. I'm going to run it anyway. The Eureka Mine is about 2 miles up the road, and Augerberry Point is 6 miles up the road. So we're not looking at a really long experience, but yeah, this road could have taken my mountain bike or two-wheel drive. At least at this point, I hear that the last quarter mile to Augerberry Point is pretty rugged, even for a four-wheel drive vehicle. We'll see in a moment. So here we go. About a mile and a half into this. This is a closed route, but it looks like there's an old miner's cabin up here. And there, you can see it ahead. We'll get a closer look when we get there. We just want to take a look at it. This is Augerberry Camp. And this looks like Pete Aguereberry's cabins. There's supposed to be 3 of them. And wow, look at this. Evidently he lived in this one, the one on the right. The middle cabin was a guest cabin. And people don't know what that one on the left was. But yeah, we'll go in there, take a look. We're just going to explore these. And of course, we know what this is up on the hill, an outhouse. And let me just read this plaque here to give you an idea where we are. It says, "There's gold in the hill in front of you. The old-time prospector Shorty Harris and his greenhorn partner Pete Aguereberry discovered it in 1905. Their discovery triggered a short-lived mining boom. The tent town of Harrisburg blossomed on the neighboring flats, and the surrounding hills still bear scars of dozens of mines. Of all the prospectors and miners who toiled here, only one, Pete Aguereberry, persisted. Augerberry worked this claim for 40 years until his death in 1945. His home still stands at the west edge of the buildings, clustered at the ridge base. Pete Aguereberry was Basque, born in Milan, France in 1874. For most of his 4 decades here, he worked his mine by himself. Remarkable persistence, not financial success, made him one of the most famous prospectors in the Panamint Range. And so here you have the little map here, and you can see that we are at Augerberry Camp, and provided we, head up the dotted line up the hill, which is what we're going to do. We're going to hit Eureka Mine and Cashier Mill. Then we'll come back down and continue on to Augerberry Point. So let's go ahead and explore these cabins just to get an idea of what we're looking at here. So Pete lived in this one. There we go. There's Pete's refrigerator. So he had, an electric refrigerator, or gas powered probably. And there's his stove. So you can imagine just being in here, and there maybe was his table where he ate. And then we go back here, and of course this is the bedroom. So there you get an idea. Let's go in here. Yeah, you get an idea. Oh, look at this. There's electric wiring here. Maybe that refrigerator was electric. We don't know. I'm not enough of a mechanic to tell the difference. We'll take a closer look. There's his window. So you want a little light in here that's more natural. That's the window. And you can see a wire up on top here. There's probably a light fixture. Don't know what we have here. A little trough. Who knows? Let's see. Okay, so we come out, and we're looking at the refrigerator. I don't know. It looks to me like it might be an electric refrigerator. Maybe you mechanics can tell me if this is electric or gas. I think it's electric. Okay, gas stove though. So who knows? Okay, and there's a gas can. Or a water can, probably a gas can. To light the stove. And Pete would make this trip multiple times a day. Let's go up to his restroom. Yeah, I know you're really excited about seeing all these details, but this is interesting. We're talking about the 1905 to around 10, 11. Yep. Oh, double restroom. Well, that's interesting. Double toilet. Huh. Very interesting. Here's the back side of the cabins. And yeah, a lot of cans. These could have been gas cans, water cans. We know that both gas and water were essential elements. And yeah, looks like somebody did some digging here, except I don't see a whole lot of tailings. Maybe that's natural. So let's head back down. That big tank there, I would bet that's a water tank, but we don't know. Now, you know, boy, you're going to need a lot of water up here. Super dry desert. Okay. So yeah, all these were in use in the early 1900s, between 1905 and 1910. Pretty amazing to be walking this area. And there's still stuff standing here. Look at this. Let's hope we don't fall through the floor. Guest cabin. Looks like guest bedrooms. So he could have quite a few guests in here. It's like the remains of a dresser. Okay, yeah. And yeah, there you see electric light fixtures, or light fixture right up on the ceiling. So yeah, this was electric lighted. There's another one up here. So yeah, probably had an electric generator. Yeah, there were no wires out here. Okay, let's go over this way, through this door. And what do we see? A shower. Had a real shower here. Isn't that great? So they weren't necessarily roughing it too bad. Oh, water heater. Okay. So they had hot water. There's a sink. So yeah, when it comes, and there's some bed springs. So yeah, the bed was not the hard ground, at least. Although I don't think that modern bed technology would necessarily consider this a pleasant night's sleep. And yeah, toilet here. So maybe there was a restroom here. Yeah, there's a hole under it. So it flushed downward. And here are some water pipes for the shower. So yeah, I bet that large tank that we saw a while ago was very likely a water tank, because it looked like they needed a lot of water up here if you have guests. So yeah, Pete worked this area by himself. Here's a little platform. Somebody worked hard to create this platform. Look at all those rocks that they moved. So there must have been something important up here. Maybe it was just a lookout. Look how they kept the roof down. That's a good engineering feat there. Just put some siding on the roof, and then maybe tin, metal, whatever, and then anchor it down with rocks. Okay. Yeah, they really had to make be very creative. Okay, so let's see. Now this is the one that's of unknown origin. Let's see if we can figure it out. Now here we have, let's see, hope nothing jumps out at me. Yeah, refrigerator. So we say it's unknown origin, but you know, if you got a refrigerator in here, maybe this was a freezer, who knows? And then, yeah, you needed a duck to get under this. This is like, I'd say 5 feet tall, this doorway. And we go in here. Oh, they have real glass windows. That's interesting. So probably all the windows were glass. Let's hope there's no snakes or spiders in this place. Be a great place for them to hide. There's some bed springs. So that tells me that this was another spare room maybe the guests could stay in. Maybe it was a storage room. We don't know. But yeah, with this little this bench here, that looks to me like something that, well, it could be a storage shelf. More glass windows, and they're in great condition. There's a little breakage here, but here's one that's totally intact since the 1900s, 1905. And there's a pipe here, which tells me that that maybe water was piped in here, but I'm not seeing a shower, not seeing a toilet. So we don't know. Had a screen door. So that tells me that somebody spent time in here, and if they've got a screen door, they're keeping the flies out. So that's not just storage. Anyway, deductive reasoning here, trying to figure out what these cabins are, and the mystery cabin on the left that nobody knows what it is. Okay. So anyway, yeah. Pete's 3 cabins where he lived on the right, the guest cabin or quarters in the middle, and then this cabin of unknown origin, or use, but you know, it looked like either storage or people lived in it. You know that anyone who's running a mining operation has equipment that he needs to store. Now, maybe, he just piled the equipment behind the cabins. We don't know. But there you have it. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to continue up this road that was closed off, and it must have been just closed off to traffic. Motor vehicles. So we're going to continue up this road and find the Cashier Mill and the Eureka Mine. Here we go. Okay, I'm going to make a wild guess. This platform, I wasn't sure what it was. Looked like somebody put a whole lot of work into laying all those rocks. I'm going to guess that was the garage. This is where the either an old car or a coach was placed. Who knows? But that's my wild guess. Seems like a good place for a car or a coach. But I don't see any stables. And he had electricity, so yeah, maybe it was a car. We haven't gone very far from Pete's cabins down there. That little guest hotel in the middle. Yeah. And what I said about the car, I didn't mean it was an electric car when I said electricity. I just meant that if you had modern conveniences like electricity and running water, that maybe he had a car. And guess what? This is likely Pete's car. Wow. Somebody's taking target practice on it. Not too nice. But yeah, yeah, here is a car that chances are it's Pete's car. He worked this mine by himself, and then, you know, for years until 1945. And then there is another platform, and maybe the car rested on that platform. So who knows? We don't know what happened on this platform ahead, but yeah, here is Pete's car. So let's just head up here, see what this is. Oops. Slippery dirt. Okay, yeah. Who knows? Old stove, it looks like. Yeah, there are some racks there. And another shot of Pete's car from above. And guess what? Here's the mine. Closed off, because you definitely don't want to go in these. Danger, danger. Cave in on you. But yeah, this is probably one of the mines that Pete worked. And my understanding is that Shorty, Harris, and Pete, they were looking around for gold and what hills had gold. If they found a lot of quartz, that would be a sign that that hill had gold. And of course, I don't see any quartz, but I'm sure it, well, wait a minute. Yeah, look at that. So, either quartz or marble, we don't know what it is. Not being a geologist, but definitely they saw something here that said, this hill has gold in it. And then I see some tailings up above, which indicates another mine. So there are mines all over the place. Okay. And then, of course, another shot down at Pete's cabins and the car. And then Harrisburg town was located in the flats down there. And of course, you see nothing is left. And it's quite a wonder that Pete's cabins and his car are still here. Because when these ghost towns were finished, because materials are so rare out here, there was a lot of scavenging that was done. And for example, in Rhyolite, the old ghost town of Rhyolite, one of the buildings in Rhyolite is now a town hall in Beatty, or some kind of a structure that's still being used. And the whole thing was carted away from Rhyolite. So you can only imagine. You don't see anything down below us in the flats, but that is where Harrisburg was located. So there you have it. Anyway, we're going to continue up and locate Eureka Mine. I missed a while ago. On this hill, if you look carefully, you see what looks almost like a slide. It's just some boards that were laid down on the hill, and I would guess, because there's what looks like some mines up above, that maybe some of the ore was dumped down this slide and then carted away to be processed. So, okay, let's keep on heading up this hill and see what we can find. More evidence of mining. You see all the tailings here. These had to have been dug out of mine shafts, and these could be ore and more gas cans here. So I understand that the Cashier Mill, where the ore was crushed and processed using gas power. It was crushed and then run through cyanide, number of cyanide tanks, probably. And that would take, yeah, definitely a lot of gas. So who knows what this is. Looks almost like an ore cart, but we just don't know. Now, up this hill, I know Eureka Mine is in this area. And so it looks like, yes, okay. Look at that. Tracks. That cart down there probably ran on. And there they are, going into a mine. So I would make a guess that ahead of us is Eureka Mine. I don't see any identification signs, but, and look at this. Water for the miners, maybe? Who knows? Or maybe it was water that was used to soften the very, very hard dirt. This hillside. So let's take a look in here. I'm definitely closed off, but you can see the tracks going into the mine. And so that's an indication that, yeah, this went way back. And the ore was piled onto the carts, and the carts ran on the tracks and took it out. So there you have it. The Eureka Mine. A little better look past the barrier. And yeah, wow. He goes a long way in there. The Eureka Mine. Here's a little cabin or storage area. We don't know. Yeah, probably a storage area or a cabin for very short people. And it definitely would have taken a lot of equipment to run this operation. So maybe that was the repair equipment, spare parts. Who knows? Okay, and there I see the tip of Cashier Mill. Let's go up there. There's Cashier Mill. And mills were where the raw ore was processed and gold extracted. And they tend to, like the Skidoo Mill, you see they're built on hills, and part of the process is sending the ore down the hill through the crushers and then collect the processed ore at the bottom of the hill. Yeah, let's take a good look at this area and explore it a little more. We don't know what's above there, but looks pretty interesting. Let's check it out. Let's circle the mill here. Yeah, you can see a lot of the rock that was pulled from the mountainside. Huge boulders, and they used it to shore up the mill here. Maybe the cyanide tanks were originally on top of this, because with the Skidoo stamp mill, the cyanide tanks were at the bottom of the mill, they were right in this position. And they're still, if you look at the Skidoo page on Las Vegas area trails, you will see number of cyanide tanks right at the base of the Skidoo stamp mill. By the way, the difference between these two is this was gas powered. Skidoo was water powered, and the water that powered that mill was piped all the way from 23 miles away, Telescope Peak. But this was gas mill, and yet they would still need the cyanide tanks. So one would think maybe this is where those tanks rested, but we don't know. It's just wild guesses here. But let's take a closer look. So, Cashier Mill. Yeah, we got to go up there, see what's going on up at the top there. Okay, 360, just so you see where we are. So evidently the hill I'm standing on is the one they chose to extract gold, but you can see other roads in the area up ahead here. So I understand there are mines all around these hills, but this definitely was a mine that merited its own mill. So this is where the main operation was. You'd have to cart ore from the other operations actually to be able to process it at this location from this mill. So that would have been a lot of work. Maybe this was the only main mine in the area. We don't know. And you can see the chute that the ore would go down as it was, being processed, or maybe this was the crushed ore. Then that would be further processed with cyanide to extract the gold. That's why the cyanide tanks are at the bottom. I think, don't quote me on it. Okay, wow. Looks like we got some kind of a chute up here. Let's just go up here and take a look at this. Whoa. Yeah, you definitely don't want to be climbing around on this. This really goes down there. And then there's a huge opening down there and into another mine. And who knows, maybe that's the Eureka Mine. Okay, let's come up here and get a better look. Straight down. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Boy, they really cut this hill up. Evidently, they found gold in the hill. They're going to dig out every potential spot where gold might be. And here is another mine shaft. So yeah, you can see why the stamp mill would have been located below these, because yeah, all that ore definitely is better to process as it's moving downhill than to cart it uphill. Okay, well, there you have it. And over here is the road to Augerberry Point, and we're going to cross over and reconnect with that road in a bit. But yeah, here we are, the Eureka Mill, or Cashier Mill, for the Eureka Mine. And then you can see, if you look closely at the ground ahead, all kinds of different, paths. People could have lived here before. We don't know. Let's go around here. Explore a little more. Yep, we wonder what is in this direction. And of course, yeah, oh, let's go up here. Just got to discover. Almost looks like steps here. Well, definitely a great view, perspective of the area around. And if Harrisburg, the town of Harrisburg, was located down in that area, and you can see some faint markings of roads. One time I stood above the town of Rhyolite, and we'll check that out, create a page for it. But it was really interesting that once you stood above and looked down, you could see all the town roads very clearly. And here you see roads. These were probably the original roads to this area. Of course, they're not in use anymore. And down here, Pete's cabin, or cabins. And then, yeah, we look over. So somebody could have stood up here and got a bird's eye view of the whole area. Maybe it was a security point. There's another mine over there. So yeah, one could spend a whole day just exploring all the mines in this area, except, yeah, they're all blocked off, gated. So you wouldn't get very far, but at least you could look into them. And every now and then there's one that's not blocked off, but then you're not sure you want to go into it because you see all these rickety timbers holding up the mountain and above the mine. And yeah, those are 100 years old or more. Yeah, more than 100 years old. And boy, that would definitely ruin your day if you were in there and that caved in. Okay, so yeah, there's just another high perspective. And there you see a little more of the road to Augerberry Point, which we'll be taking in a bit. But there you have it. Eureka Mine under us now. And you can see different paths around us people would have taken to go different places, other mines, trying to find another hill like this, I guess, that had so much gold in it. Okay, let's continue on. Just a few facts. Pete Aguereberry and Shorty Harris discovered this, as I mentioned, and there were 300 men working this mine and this area, so that town would have to support a population of maybe 600-700, and the gold was valued at $500 from a ton of ore. So that's pretty amazing. Okay, we are at the Eureka Mine over here, and you can see the railroad tracks, or the mining cart tracks, ore cart tracks leading down from the mine. And over here you can see Cashier Mill, where the raw ore was processed into gold was extracted, and a little storage area of sorts. You'd have to be like 3 or 4 feet tall to stand up in there, so it's got to be storage. Okay, and just to give you a rundown, let's see, before we do that, the main road continues up off in this direction, leading upward to Augerberry Point. We're headed there next. But let me just read this interpretive sign, give some additional information. Gold from the Eureka Mine sustained Pete Aguereberry for 40 years. Historians estimate that Augerberry extracted about $175,000 worth of gold, then valued at $20 per ounce. And he extracted this gold from Providence Ridge. So this up here must be Providence Ridge, with the Cashier Mill on the ridge and the mine, Eureka Mine, tunneling under it. Cashier Mill on the hillside to your left is Cashier Mill, built in 1909, powered by gasoline engines. The mill pulverized the ore, then chemical processes using mercury and cyanide extracted the gold. The mill site and surrounding mines were originally part of Shorty Harris's claim, which he sold to the Cashier Mining Company. Augerberry later bought the mill site, adding to the 7 Death Valley mining claims he already owned. Gold prospectors like Augerberry looked for veins of quartz, which are shown right here. There's a quartz vein. They looked for veins of quartz or seams of red or yellow iron-stained rock. Miners followed the veins, drilling and blasting to break the ore loose. Then they sent the ore to mills to extract the gold. A profitable mine would yield about an ounce of gold per ton of ore. In recent years, the Eureka Mine has become a winter home for the endangered Townsend big-eared bat. Okay, so maybe that's another reason you don't want to go in the mine. Your presence in the mine during winter months could awaken the bats, which may cause them distress and even death. And, who knows what it'll do to you. So, yeah, don't go in there during the winter. Okay, so let's head up to Augerberry Point.